He murdered an entire family just to wear the neighbor girl's face. Scytale, face dancer, master manipulator, the most dangerous man in the Imperium, killed a Fremen named Farouk, his blind son, and the neighbor's daughter Lichna. Then he put on her skin, walked into the Imperial Palace, and sat down directly across from the most prescient being alive. And Paul Atreides let him straight in. But that's the surface. The real question Frank Herbert was asking is this: what does it do to a mind to have no permanent face? The answer is not what you'd expect. Scytale is not hollow. He is not empty. He believes, absolutely, fanatically, more purely than almost anyone else in the Dune saga, and that is exactly what makes him terrifying. To understand Scytale, you need to understand where he came from. The Bene Tleilax are presented to the rest of the Imperium as biological merchants, traders in genetic obscenities, like Gola bodies grown from the cells of the dead, and shape-shifting spies for hire. The universe finds them repulsive and keeps them at arm's length, which is exactly what the Tleilaxu want, because beneath the commerce, the Tleilaxu are a theocracy, a secret religious civilization hiding in plain sight for 10,000 years. Their masters speak only to each other in a language no outsider has ever decoded. Their homeworld is locked down, and for millennia, no outsider could even confirm that Tleilaxu women existed. That last part is not incidental. It's the darkest secret in the Dune universe. Those axolotl tanks, the biological vats used to grow golas and face dancers, are not machines. They are women. Tleilaxu women, surgically transformed, reduced to a purely biological function, living, breathing, endlessly productive, and stripped of everything except their reproductive capacity. When the Bene Gesserit finally discover this, thousands of years later, the revelation hits like a hammer. These people, who played the role of eccentric bioengineers, had been running the largest hidden atrocity in human history. Not on aliens, but on their own. Scytale was born from one of those tanks, and he worships the god who commanded it. He is a scientist who performs belief, and he knows the difference better than anyone. By the time Dune Messiah opens, Paul has been emperor for 12 years. The jihad he ignited has killed 61 billion people, and his prescient vision extends so far forward that he can barely be surprised. He is, for all practical purposes, a god. So how do you kill a god? Scytale's answer is that you don't use an army, you use a gift. The gift is a Gola body grown from the dead cells of Duncan Idaho, Paul's greatest warrior and closest friend. On the surface, it looks like an act of mercy and the return of someone Paul loved. But in reality, it's a weapon shaped like a man. And that's not what the Tleilaxu actually wanted. What Scytale's people have been chasing for centuries is technological immortality. Their theory was that if you force a Gola into a moment of extreme psychological trauma, like the order to kill someone he loves, The stress will shatter his artificial identity and let his original memories flood back. The Duncan Idaho Gola is a live experiment. The assassination trigger is just the mechanism, and Scytale doesn't need Paul dead. He needs Duncan to remember, and then Duncan does. Paul throws a crysknife, and Scytale dies on the palace floor. That's the part everyone knows. Here's the part that changes everything. In that same room, the experiment had already succeeded. The Tleilaxu had proved, beyond any doubt, that a Gola can recover its past life, which means the Masters can die and be reborn, carrying their knowledge forward indefinitely. Not reincarnation, but manufactured immortality. And so they bring Scytale back. His DNA goes straight into one of those tanks, and he's reborn with full memory recall, the very technique his death helped prove. He becomes the first Gola of himself, then rises to Tleilaxu Master, meaning the man who died a failed assassin is reborn as the architect of his civilization's greatest achievement. Scytale doesn't disappear after Dune Messiah. He survives for 5,000 years, dying and being reborn when necessary, while empires collapse and sandworm gods walk the earth. Scytale is always there, in the background, watching and planning. By the final book, the Honored Matres have committed genocide on the Tleilaxu homeworlds, and an entire civilization is gone in an instant. Scytale is the last one. But inside his body, hidden in a microscopic nulentropy capsule, he carries the genetic material of nearly every significant figure in Dune history. Paul Atreides, Chani, Gurney Halleck, and every Tleilaxu master who ever lived. He is a walking ark of civilization, containing the dead universe of his people, compressed into his own flesh. When the Bene Gesserit hold him prisoner, they think they own him, but he trades just enough information to remain valuable, and holds back just enough to remain alive. And when a rogue ship escapes into uncharted space, Scytale goes with it, carrying the DNA of everything that was lost, while staring out into the dark. Every major faction in Dune represents a philosophy about controlling the future. The Bene Gesserit through breeding, the Guild through prescience, and the Tleilaxu through flesh itself. To them, genetic engineering is not science, it is theology. Their laboratories are temples, and their tanks are altars. When Scytale looked at Paul Atreides, he didn't see a god. He saw a biological accident, elevated by Bene Gesserit engineering and Fremen desperation. He could see the seams in the myth. He never lost his clarity, never believed his own performance, and understood exactly what separated him from every other player in the Imperium. Belief can be manipulated, only knowledge is dangerous. Every other faction spent oceans of blood across 90 generations chasing a messiah or a promise. But Scytale asked a simpler, colder question. What if we just cheat death? And lying on the palace floor, crysknife across the room, he got his answer. Yes, you can. It costs you everything, but yes, you can.